And we're live.
Are we?
Are we? I think so. I mean,
Are we alive?
It says we're alive.
I love to be alive.
We're Alive is that zombie podcast that I remember. Did I show that to you?
Oh, was that Wait a minute. We Are Alive?
We Are Alive. That's what it's called.
I don't think I've heard of this.
Oh, okay, never mind. It's like it's like a podcast. It's a narrative.
It's a podcast of the Zambones.
What? Oh yeah.
Of the Zambonis.
Sorry, you said Zambones. I thought Zambonis. Realized what you were doing, but in my tired state, my mind just went straight to cleaning up the ice,
Oh yeah.
keeping the ice maintained, man.
Somebody get me a Zamboni and clean my shit up.
Oh, no, show me a Zamboni.
I don't want to do
I
it.
don't wanna.
No.
Nobody told me how to do this.
I don't know. This is hard. Mom.
That's what adult life feels like.
Yeah.
It's just like, the more adult you come, I
No.
feel like the more your internal whiny kid voice just grows and consumes you.
I don't know if it's even like the voice, but just the raw feeling of that does become more prevalent.
Oh yeah, it's like you don't even have to say it out loud. It's just your cells are saying it for you.
Yeah.
So,
Welcome to Take As
welcome
Stuff.
to Take As Stubbs. Really starting out on a jovial note today.
I feel like we're already like I don't want to say looking forward to, but we're anticipating what we're going to attempt to do with this episode.
Yeah, I mean,
My name is Aaron.
my name is Jerry, and we are your Sherpas on this voyage into dankness.
Yes.
On
Let's get ready to get sad as hell.
Yeah, this is our depression episode, I guess.
I mean, it's our. I mean,
Dank gets depressed.
Dank gets down.
Dank gets down. Hey, but that could be like a boogie ass episode. Too.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been getting down.
Yeah.
I've been getting down to tunes all week. That's like the one bright spot, like consistently of this week was new tunes. Man.
Yeah. I gotta catch up on the tunes I wanted to get into. I was jamming out to some podcasts this week.
Okay. Hey, man. I mean, the flow of speech can be just as musical sometimes. Yeah. Which casts, man? What you listening to?
I found a cool podcast. Remember when we once got into a conversation where I was like, someone should write a book that's just all the things that are wrong with the human brain?
Yeah.
Well, there's a podcast, and I think when I was thinking, man, what would that book even be called? I think this popped into my head, and it is the title of the podcast.
Oh, shit.
It is the You Are Not So Smart podcast, and it's basically just quirky things about human psychology and sociology, all discussed in podcast form.
I'm gonna write this shit down.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I've checked out just a few of their episodes. They did one where they were talking about learned helplessness, and they went into just how that was discovered in in the laboratory experiments that gave birth to that realization, and how it's been observed in people, and things like that.
You get down on some academia in your spare time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do that, man, but the grind waylays,
I don't know. I guess maybe just like, I think maybe that's part of the problems with college, because you get so focused on, I got to do this essay and throw in this test. College sadly ends up kind of becoming a grind like high school, where it's like, I would love to sit and just actually learn about this shit, but I have to just, memorize figures and facts and throw in whatever and not actually interact with this material.
Well, yeah, it's like I gotta satisfy somebody else's criterion.
Like, I would have loved to have just gone to college where all we have to do is just, like, sit and talk about the topics, and then from there I get graded on that, but that wouldn't be so... That would be very hard for a teacher or a professor to measure.
Well, I guess it would be pass-fail, and then you just judge on, conviction and demonstration of,
Of mastery.
Of mastery, and you'd have to have, brilliant-ass teachers.
Yeah, you would have to have...
With such wide ranges of expertise.
Yeah. You would have to Basically, you would have to have a school where there's just a bunch of really good teachers and no administration, really.
Yeah. Yeah, no administration and no weird district numbers to keep up with and national averages and shit. Basically like ratings, It's kind of like ratings are for TV. It's just like those are your ratings for your school.
Yeah.
Because they would always tell us that stuff, at least in... I don't remember if we got this in high school, but even in elementary, I think they would be like, we are such and such school in the
district.
state or the district, as some kind of motivator for us to do better on those standardized tests.
Yeah, it's like, why do we want to do well on this school so the school gets a higher number? We hate this place, and by the time that matters for you, we'll be out of here.
Yeah, and it's like,
so I guess that's...
I want the teachers to get paid, but it's weird that I should be driving up your average so you can make more tuition money.
Yeah. It's like, I want the teachers to get paid, but it's like, why is the buck getting passed on the teachers in that way? Because they seem like really fucking overworked.
Yeah. Well, especially, I don't know how teachers in other parts of the world are, but it seems like in America, I've never met a teacher in America, maybe in the college level. Like, if you get a professor with, a real nice tenure, that dude's relaxed. But, most teachers are a little harried. Their car is usually,
not the best.
Yeah, a few weeks out from a good washing. And they always look a little flustered. That's the teacher I imagine in my mind's eye.
The only teachers I knew of that didn't have that going on were teachers in film school that were like, yeah, I teach here and I'm an adjunct here, but really I'm out. I'm teaching here to pay my bills while I'm out of here to actually do my stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've never encountered one that wasn't still bringing their A game to the teaching, scenario, because it's just they care about the actual subject. They made the subject their life, both teaching it and doing it, and that's chill.
Well, I wonder perhaps if it.
So that's.
I mean, I'm sure any teacher, any faction of knowledge, you'll find somebody who's very passionate about teaching it. But I almost wonder if, in the arts, people are more willing to want to teach. It's like you could easily kind of be like, well, I know chemistry, I guess I could just teach it.
Yeah.
Versus man, I love pottery. I'm going to teach these young folks how to do this because I just fucking love it.
Yeah. Because you're feeding into that excitement you got when you were first entering that world. And
yeah, so it's like if you're a film professor, you still kind of get to hang out and talk about movies. You just expect stuff from the people that you're talking to.
Yeah. And I guess... that's more or less why I'm into a bunch of pseudo-academic or pseudo-educational podcasts, just because, I miss that. I miss people talking deeply at length about a given topic, about a given subject.
Well, this was the really sad realization for me once I got done with school, finally, after so long, was I got done with school, and all of a sudden I was like, man, I just want to read books and learn shit.
Yeah, exactly, right?
And it's just kind of, I don't know, it's sad to me that should happen, because, I was never a great student, and I never really loved school. I would occasionally find things to be interested in, but, I didn't, for some reason, the hunger for learning didn't kick in quite that way until I was done with school.
It's also at school, at school, there's the idea of you go to school and you pick up the catalog and it's just this big menu of all these classes that you can take and all these things you can learn about, and it sounds fucking badass, but then it's if I sign on to learn this thing, I'm going to be tied up for 4 or 5 months.
Well, yeah.
And I'm going to have to pay another X $1,000 down the line.
Uh-huh. And then there's also just the general kind of, you'll read about a class and it sounds really awesome, and there's that reversal thing where it's usually the classes that sounded dry were actually kind of cool, and some of the classes that sounded really awesome were kind of not as much. And so, you almost, not only do you have just this tome of options, but also, you never know what you're going to actually jive on, or
Yeah.
what's going to be taught in a way that suits your learning, habits.
I know that I had a very interesting, interesting experience. Like when I was at my JC, where I got into an intro to philosophy class, and this was like way, first year or two of my undergrad. And it was like, oh, this is so cool, intro to philosophy. And then the professor turned out to be insane.
Oh boy.
And a bad person.
Oh.
And so I was like, well, this fucking blows.
Insane and a bad person, like how?
You remember Paul Bettany's character from the Da Vinci Code?
Yes, actually. I shudder to ask where this comparison is taken.
This philosophy professor was a bit like that.
Oh.
Like so Catholic he is trying to hurt you.
Ooh.
And very much
at a JC, no less?
Yeah. Very much like
Interesting.
With a smile, a very creepy, twisted, like Kevin Bacon character smile, was doing a lot of like gross preaching from, the podium. And
go to the theology department, dude.
Yeah, not even. But it was very kind of creepy and unnerving, and so I dropped that class, and I ended up I ended up taking an online version of that same class with a different professor. And it's like online, you don't get the same effect because you can't really have that full on discussion in that same way.
Yeah, the best experience I ever had with online was one of those hybrid classes where it was like, we meet on Tuesday, computer on Thursday.
Yeah.
Because then you kind of got both.
Yeah.
And there was still accountability, because, like, straight up online classes, I never did well at.
Yeah. So that was, yeah. So, I mean, that kind of made it frustrating because it was, it was like, I wanted to get into this, I wanted to learn about this thing, I want to learn about this thing at the intricate college level, and I kind of got shortchanged out of that.
Yeah.
But now I have the wide, wonderful world of YouTube channels about philosophy and podcasts about philosophy, and there's a lot of it, let me tell you, oddly enough.
Oh, yeah, there's all you gotta know is which rock to look under, and you'll find a wealth of, squirmy imagination bugs.
Yeah.
Intellect bugs.
So,
I took a class from a professor, I remember this vividly, his name was Professor Tubbs. And he taught us how to make flank-ass rubs! Spice profiles, marinades, glazes, chutneys, whatever you want. Professor Tubbs had that shit.
Professor Frank S. Tubbs bringing you tandoori seasoning if you want it.
And his tandoori was the shit.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Sorry, I had to slip that in there.
That was some good shit.
That was good.
That was dope. So today on Take S. Tubbs, we're basically doing an audio let's play of...
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting experiment. Why don't you... Because you brought this to the proverbial table. So.
Well, for a few things, because... Well...
Did you find this on a podcast?
No, I found out about this just on the internet. Basically, we're going to be doing an audio let's play in essence of a text adventure game in a sense.
My favorite kind of adventure.
Yeah, and I thought, well, it's basically a text adventure, so that makes it prime for doing it just audio. It's not like you guys are missing out on visuals.
Just a shot of a screen, occasionally scrolling your face, and just a way too big reaction.
I feel like if someone's going to do a let's play of a text adventure, you would have to flip the script where the gameplay footage is small and their face is big.
Or just make them wear glasses so that it reflects in the frame.
So you can see the text on their sunglasses?
Yeah, you get two boxes with a slightly different view of the screen.
My God. I love people doing like goofy photos of them staring at computer screens, and it's like whatever's on the computer screen, you don't see the computer screen, you see an angle on their face with the reflective sunglasses, and you see what's on the computer screen, their sunglasses, and it's like, I saw one where it was just like this grumpy looking dude, And the caption was like, "Yeah, Mom, I'm doing my homework." And reflected in his sunglasses were just a Microsoft Word document with the words "gay porn" in giant letters. "Yeah, Mom, I'm doing my homework."
I want to see this photograph. It's making me happy.
I saw another one where it was a guy like with this intense like look on his face, and he was very clearly trying to give like the '90s like Matrix hacker look.
Oh yeah.
And reflected in his sunglasses were the words of World Meme Database, and the caption was, "I'm in."
Oh, I do like this subcategory.
Yeah.
I just want to do everything in Reflective Aviators now.
So we're going to be playing Depression Quest.
Depression Quest.
We're gonna you want to get sad as hell?
You want to get depressed off your ass?
Zoe Quinn gonna spray you ass with viruses, yo. Viruses.
Oh, you want bathrooms? We got bathrooms. They're called your pants.
Let's just recite that SNL bit. Why don't we not?
That's what the show will eventually become. Just us, a cappella reciting, from
our favorite bits from other comedic media.
Yeah. All right, The Guardian.
The Guardian. LaGuardia.
LaGuardia. What's for a tab? DepressionQuest.com. It's already a shortcut.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Depression Quest by Zoe Quinn. We'll skip the intro, but basically Depression Quest just talks about, it's a bit of a disclaimer. This game is not supposed to be indicative of everyone's experience with depression. It's not supposed to be a medically, it's not supposed to be a diagnostic tool.
100% medically
accurate!
Human depression page.
There's just a chain of people, there's this doctor stitching people with their heads on each other's shoulders, just kind of like...
Stitching you together ass to sadness.
Stitching people so it's like they're just kind of like leaning against each other in this like morose hump.
Yeah. With all kind of leaning like sad dominoes.
Yes.
Not the pizza though.
No.
Sad dominoes is a thing of the past now because they're just dominoes now. That's for a different.
I feel like Sad Dominoes would be a novelty Twitter account that someone should make.
That would be great. Sad Dominoes.
Sad Dominoes.
Just the corporate entity. It doesn't even have to sound like it's like from an employee. Just
it's
Dominoes.
Like, we have new sauce. It's okay. You can try it or don't.
Yeah, Pizza was always better at making sauces than me. What's the point?
Every so often, Sad Dominoes will just tweet, "I'm sorry."
I'm sorry. People are fat.
I'm sorry. It's like, my customers came in, they were all so fat, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. Hashtag sad.
I delivered a pizza meant for 4 people to a family of 6 because that's all they could afford. I'm sorry.
Oh man, there was a joke on Kimmy Schmidt. Or no, it was Dong is just like talking about his delivery job, and at one point he touches on the sadness of like delivering food to a guy who immediately yells "Food's here!" and in full knowledge that no one is there. just he's alone with his Chinese food.
My God. So
it's early on a Monday morning. This is the first step of the game. Yeah, we're in the game.
We're in the game. We're in. I'm in.
We need like a Quest World montage. We need like one of those like oh shit, it's becoming 3D. Like you get Jack into Quest World.
Should we?
And then Race Bannon's gonna call you an imbecile.
Should we have some mood music for this?
Oh yeah, I mean if you have some kind of serene.
I have an idea.
Oh, do you?
I have an idea for like a good soundtrack for this.
Okay. All right.
Let me pipe this up. Let me get the speaks.
Oh shit. For those of you playing along at home, Aaron is currently rifling through a bag. It's on the floor just beyond a table with a big arrangement of glass grapes on top. He's removed a cylinder. That's right, folks. Not a square, not a rectangle. A cylinder with a shoelace around it. And he's opening
hold the sleeve onto it because it's got this sleeve around the plastic stuff, and so the shoelace. It was just lying around. I used it to hold the sleeve on.
We're being informed that it's to hold the sleeve on.
Sleeve is removed.
Sleeve is removed, and now we are
Opening the cylinder.
opening the chrysalis, inside of which the cylindrical speaker is contained, is held safe and sound. I love that, like, bongo noise.
Yeah. Let me check.
90% charge.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's going to last us a bit.
That's like almost 100% charged.
Let's see. We are going to go... We're going to go down... Yeah, a nice kind of like... yeah, it sounded like a good idea in my head. It's nice, moody. It's Boren and der Club of Gore, which is an ambient... a very moody ambient jazz band. I believe they are from Germany.
Oh, the Germany.
And this is their album Sunset Mission.
Okay, alright. Ooh. Ooh. I read a study today that suggested that, you know, avid fans of jazz are among the more open-minded music listeners.
Well, I mean, I think that comes from just the fact that, you know, one, jazz was always kind of like outsider music just because it started in, you know, black communities. And two, because jazz is now like an older style of music, so I guess it largely stems from just, you know, you got to be into older stuff to be into jazz. You got to kind of go out of your way to absorb jazz in this day and age.
Yeah. See, I think it was like indie was number 1, jazz was 2, and then pop was pop was the lowest.
Well, yeah, because pop is like you don't have to stretch yourself to listen to pop music because it's already everywhere.
Yeah, it's true.
So, it is early on a Monday morning. You are a mid-20s human being.
Oh shit, that's me.
You have a significant other named Alex who you are rather fond of that you have been seeing exclusively for the past few months.
Oh shit.
The rest of your social circle consists of a variety of friends and acquaintances, some of whom you met at your day job, which is a little boring, but pays the rent. You'd like to be doing more with your life, as would your parents, but you're still in the process of figuring out what that means and how to go about it.
Dude!
You are also dealing with motivation issues that sometimes makes dealing with these things difficult. You feel like this is probably your fault, and on bad days, can feel inwardly angry and down on yourself for being lazy. But you're not quite sure how you can break out of it, or how other people deal with these feelings and seem so very functional. You spend a lot of nights fixating on thinking about this, but never seem to do anything about it other than lose sleep.
Well, this is hitting close to home.
Well, it's made to.
It's an unreasonably warm Wednesday evening. You've spent the past several hours at work. The past week or so, you've found your job motivation flagging more so than usual. You've been in a fog practically all day today, simply going through the motions without realizing even what you've been doing half the time. And yet time seemed to be moving at half speed. You're so checked out that when your boss approaches you to tell you that it's dead and you can go home early, it barely registers. As you walk home, the streets hiss from the recent rainfall. You know that your significant other will be in classes until late, another couple hours at least. You briefly consider using the serendipitous solitude to catch up on that project that you've been working on haphazardly for the past few months. As soon as you think about the work that awaits you at home, you can feel the panic creeping in from the back of your brain, unbidden. All you can think about is how incredibly far behind you are, and the amount of work seems nothing less than insurmountable. Ouch, man, this is deep. By the time you arrive home and change out of your uncomfortable work clothes, the stress is weighing down on you like a heavy, wet wool blanket. Your computer seems to be staring you down from your desk. You want to sit down and work, but the mere thought of trying to work sends your stress levels flying. More than do anything, you feel suddenly and absolutely exhausted and feel a strong desire to simply hide in bed.
And now we have our first choice.
Do you?
One is crossed out, so it's not an option.
It's not an option.
Order some food, grab a drink, and hunker down for a night of work. Not an option.
Off the table. Number 2. Reluctantly sit down at your desk and try to make yourself do something.
3. Turn on the TV, telling yourself you just need a quick half hour to unwind from work.
4. Crawl into bed. You're so stressed and overwhelmed you couldn't possibly accomplish anything anyways.
You are depressed. Interaction is exhausting and you are becoming more and more withdrawn. You are not currently seeing a therapist. You are not currently taking medication for depression. So...
Oh, shit. Whose adventure do we choose? Or do we, like...
I feel like number 2 could go really badly. Because it's like, suddenly you'll just get frustrated and not actually crank anything out. But number 3 could also end badly. Because you could just end up rotting in front of the TV for way more than a half hour.
Okay, so are we supposed to answer these like, what would I honestly do, or what is the best strategy? Like, am I going to try and win this game?
Um...
Because, like, if I'm answering honestly, it's like I feel like I would attempt 2 and it would turn into 3.
If I was going to answer honestly, I would say I would want to attempt 2, but it would turn into 3 in that same way, because rather than it being the TV, it would be dicking around on the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like...
menial distraction.
Yeah, it's like you sit down and think, oh, I'm going to crank this out, and then you get absorbed into other things on the internet. So I feel like...
See, the last thing I ever do is crawl into... is just go to sleep. Like,
yeah.
It's always like, I'm going to be awake...
forever.
Yeah. Because, I'll be the ultimate lazy if I sleep.
Yeah.
Like...
Because, like, number 4 just feels like too much of a surrender.
Yeah.
So you're always very reluctant to attempt to just dive right into number 4.
I guess we go in for number 3 then.
Yeah, I think number 3.
Alright.
Number 3, turn on the TV. Just a half hour of TV, you tell yourself, absently grasping for the remote. You don't so much sit down on the couch as sink into it. You turn on the TV and start going through your usual channel routine. After a few cycles of this, you realize you're really not doing much more than thumb calisthenics and absently killing time. You check the clock and see that over 20 minutes have already passed since you sat down.
Jeez.
As your self-imposed time limit creeps ever nearer, you become more and more anxious. You stand up and walk to the fridge, telling yourself, I'll just make a quick sandwich and get to work after that. Can't be productive on an empty stomach, right? As you eat, you start pacing around your apartment, heading past your bedroom in the process. You stop in the doorway, as if physically unable to cross the threshold. Familiar waves of exhaustion start racking you, and you feel simultaneously tired and panicked. You close your door and head back to the couch. It's still early yet, you tell yourself. As long as I get to work in an hour, I'll have plenty of time to be productive. As you flip channels and let the CSI and Jeopardy reruns wash over you, you sink deeper into the couch, feeling at once encroached upon and shielded by being quite literally swallowed up by it. As the second hour draws nearer, sure enough, you find yourself getting anxious and jittery. You repeat the fridge-paced couch process a couple more times before you look at the clock and realize that several hours have passed and, not surprisingly, you've managed to get no work done. You crawl into bed, acutely aware of the fact that you have work in the morning and that any opportunity you had to catch up on your own creative endeavors today was squandered. You're feeling so disgusted with yourself that when Alex calls to talk to you on her way home from class, you simply say that you had a really rough day at work and you're trying to rest up before your shift tomorrow. She says she understands and wishes you a good night, though you can't help but notice she sounds slightly disappointed. Ironically, the stress of potentially upsetting your partner compounds with the stress of not having gotten anything done this evening and the stress of having to go into work tomorrow. The buzzing of anxiety in your brain melts together with your body's utter physical exhaustion, and you sink into a semi-hypnagogic, anxious funk. Too tired to try and work, but too anxious to fall asleep for several hours. You are very depressed. You spend a large amount of time sleeping, hating yourself, and have very little energy or motivation. You are not currently seeing a therapist. You are not currently taking medication for depression.
Sidebar.
Yeah?
I just want to record a 12-minute jam called semi-hypnagogic anxious funk.
Yeah. Create a new genre of semi-hypnagogic anxious funk.
Yeah.
Just it would be out there, but it would be funky.
I feel like King Gizzard and the Lizard
King
Wizard.
Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
I think that is semi-hypnagogic anxious funk.
I'm so
That's
happy.
their genre. They're not neo-psychedelic. They're semi-hypnagogic anxious funk.
We have cracked it, and I'm so happy
We
that
now
you
know
referenced King Gizzard
and
the Lizard Wizard.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's their genre.
I'm so happy.
We discovered what their genre is.
So, all you King Gizzard fans,
All you gizzards.
it's a mild Friday afternoon. Alex calls you from one of her classes telling you that there's going to be a, quote, really awesome birthday party tonight at her apartment that one of her roommates is throwing. You've hung out with this roommate a few times with Alex, and you get along well enough, but you aren't particularly close. You don't have work in the morning, and have nothing else in particular to do tonight. You're feeling kind of run down, but you have been fatigued most of the time lately. You mention that you're feeling ill because you're not sure how else to explain those feelings to someone else, and say that you aren't sure you can make it tonight. There's a second of silence over the phone, but you can swear you can hear the sound of your partner's face fall. She tries to convince you anyway. You haven't seen her this week, and she sounds pretty insistent that you come over. She even drops a few suggestively worded hints that you can stay with her, that you can stay over with them tonight after the party. What do you do? And again, the first option is not on the table.
Number one is shake off your funk and go have a good time with your girlfriend. Not on the...
Nope.
Not an option.
2, agree to go.
3, say that you're really just not feeling well and can't make it.
I would agree to go.
I would agree to go too, because I've just, in my situations, just like a little bit of social interaction has helped.
Yeah.
Just for a little bit.
And it's usually like a little bit of social interaction helps, and then on my end of things too, it's usually like, well, at least I did something for somebody, which in some way kind of feels like I did a thing.
Yeah.
You know, productive.
Saying that you're not feeling well and can't make it, at that point it's like you're creating something you didn't do that you will later feel bad about not doing.
Yeah.
Very rarely does anybody be like, I should have just stayed home, unless something absolutely terrible happens.
Yeah.
You don't think I should have just stayed home.
Yeah, I mean, usually in that situation, worst comes to worst, you're just like, it was fine. Like,
yeah.
I wasn't psyched, but it was fine. So number 2, agree to go.
Agree to go.
Final answer, Regis.
You agree to go, even though you're really not feeling social. You know it's important to Alex, and you'd really like to see her. Seeing her does make you feel better sometimes, and you hope that this is the case tonight, even if it does mean dealing with all the usual social anxiety. The time to leave rolls around, and you grab your overnight bag. Alex's apartment is a short walk away, and there are already people hanging out on the porch. You feel your chest tighten as you approach the building, and try to steel your nerves. You quickly find your partner chatting away with the birthday girl, and Alex immediately lightens up when she sees you. I'm so happy you came. I wasn't sure you were going to make it. A young man taps her on the shoulder, and she turns back to you to apologize and let you know they have to do something for the party. Alex hands you a beer and plants a kiss on your cheek before going off to deal with whatever came up. As you look around, you don't see anyone else you recognize. Number 1, enthusiastically socialize, with an exclamation point.
Which you can't do.
Totally crossed out.
So number 1 is just always off the table.
Yeah.
Number 2, awkwardly stand in the same spot, unsure of what else to do. 3, put your bag in Alex's room and avoid the crowd in there for a while.
4, cling to the back wall, sip your beer, and wait for your girlfriend to return. 5, proceed to drink in earnest, hoping it makes you less uncomfortable.
Ooh. I would probably move.
Yeah.
I would probably... probably 4.
Yeah, I know there was a time when I would have done 5. Not because, like... Not just because, it's like feeling a little bit loose.
Yeah.
Helps. I am not an alcoholic.
No, yeah, but I mean, if you find yourself in a social situation like that where you're like, okay, I'm here, I might as well kind of, engage.
Yeah.
3
to me sounds like a smart idea.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's like, oh, there's something it's like I'm uncomfortable. If I'm uncomfortable in the room with all the crowd of people, then it's like, oh, well, I have something I have to do. So let me do the thing I have to do. I have to put my overnight bag in the room that I'm going to be staying in. That's the thing I'll have to do. And after I do the thing I have to do, then I can engage in the party.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Oh, man. Yeah, I might do that. That would depend. It would depend on how I'm feeling in this situation.
Yeah.
How much I do or don't want to socialize. It's like if I'm very overwhelmed, I would probably go with 3.
Yeah.
But usually I'm not as much in that place.
Yeah.
So what do we do? Like rock paper, scissors?
Yeah, it's also 3 is like it's avoid the crowd in there for a while but I guess in my situation it would just be, I would just put the bag in, take a breath maybe, and then go back out. Not just like I'm going to just sit on the bed with the door closed and just have a moment of quiet before, as long as I can.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't spend 5 or 10 minutes there. I might sit down for a second. All right, let's go. So
you want to do 4?
That's my most honest answer, I think.
Yeah, cling to the back wall, sip your beer, and wait for your girlfriend to return. Yeah, because then it's like in essence, you're making yourself act like you're comfortable.
Yeah. You're
going through the motions of being comfortable.
Plus, so
you're eliminating the whole feeling of, it feels so awkward to be here.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm in this party, I don't know what I'm doing here. It's like, at the very least, like, going through the motions of being nonchalant gives you kind of like the prod into actual nonchalantness.
Yeah.
So 4, cling to the back wall, sip your beer, and wait for your girlfriend to return.
From heaven. Yep. As Alex leaves, you are not quite sure what to do with yourself. Standing in the middle of the room leaves you feeling kind of exposed, and you don't feel ballsy enough to randomly approach any of the groups of people clustered together talking. You head to a clear spot on the back wall and lean against it. For some reason, this always feels a lot more secure. You scan the party for a familiar face, for any sign of your partner, and come up with nothing. Not sure what else to do, and worrying that you must look creepy just standing there watching everyone, you take out your phone to busy yourself. 20 semi-tedious games of Bejeweled Blitz later, your partner returns. You spend the rest of the night with Alex, occasionally being introduced to people and nodding along with the group conversations, even if you don't participate that much. At the end of the night, as you're falling asleep with your girlfriend in the crook of your arm, she thanks you again for coming. Half drunk, she confides that she thought you were going to flake out and was pleasantly surprised that you managed to come out. She says it lovingly, but you're not quite sure how you feel about that statement.
Next. It's a little afternoon on a muggy Saturday.
Weekend!
Yeah! Your mother has come over for a surprise visit, claiming loudly she doesn't see you enough, so she decided to invite herself over. As you converse, she walks around your place, and you get the distinct impression that you're being inspected. So what's going on with you lately? She asks abruptly. Taken somewhat aback by this left fielder, you tell her you're not sure what she means. She repeats the question, saying that you haven't seemed like yourself lately. She gestures to the dirty dishes piled in the sink and notes the fact that you haven't called or visited in a while. Your reticence only seems to spur her on more. She presses you, asking if you're having problems at work or with Alex, and you're beginning to feel increasingly battered by her sudden well-meaning but overwhelming inquisition. Under her questions, you become increasingly uncomfortable. You want to be able to explain to her how you've been feeling, but the truth is you're not really sure yourself. Nothing horrific has happened at work or with your significant other or friends or anything like that, but all the same, you can't deny that lately you've just felt drained, and as though you're not really here. You wish you could tell your mother these things, but she hasn't been approachable about negative emotions in the past. She is the kind of person who holds the opinion that the solution to any problem is simply to try harder and maintain a positive attitude, a stance that has reared its head in past conversations when you've begun to explore the subject with her. You know she's unlikely to be understanding, and you feel the energy drain out of you when you imagine what would happen if you managed to blurt out everything you are feeling. What do you do? Number 1, not an option.
Let her know that you've been feeling down lately and that you appreciate her concern.
Number 2, try to be honest with her anyway.
3, tell her that everything's fine and thank her for asking.
Number 4, change the subject.
I'm a fine guy myself in these situations. I'm just like, it's fine, whatever. Like, I don't know, I've become a bit more open, perhaps, in recent years.
Yeah.
But I would, at least before, I would always be like, no, it's fine, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm the guy, and this probably, like, branches off into me, like, probably getting really fucking annoying, but I'm the guy that thinks, well, maybe I'm always thinking, well, maybe there's an angle to actually explain this to somebody so they get it. Maybe there is a way to get somebody to get this.
Yeah.
If I say it right. You know,
choose the right sequence of words,
if I'm-
thoughts, and ideas.
if I'm strategic and judicious with the way I spin this, maybe I can get the idea across.
You just need a PowerPoint.
Yeah. Just yeah. There's all those sad
PowerPoint.
Yeah!
Oh, shit!
PowerPoint! I want to do that. I want to, like, get a really shitty corporate job to make PowerPoints, and then at a board meeting, I show them a PowerPoint that just gets sadder and sadder and gloomier and grayer. And then just like, our quarterly earnings are, what's the fucking point?
What's the point?
What's the point? We're all gonna die.
We're all gonna die.
Yeah, and
You
just
can't
start
take any of this shit with us.
and just point to everyone in the room. It's like, you can't take your fucking, you can't take your Q3 returns with you. You're gonna be dead soon.
You can't take that cool car you're leasing or your stupid beach house.
Your beach house will one day get swallowed by the ocean.
Yeah.
It will be a rotting mass that dead coral will be attached to.
When all the solid, like, rock and dirt matter is just corroded by an unrelenting sea. Dower Point.
Dower Point. Microsad Dower Point.
Microsad Dower Point. And Excel.
Yeah. No, Excel would be just renamed to Coming Up Short.
Well done. It was good.
Yeah.
And
Word would be Mumble.
Mm,
Outlook.
Microsoft Outlook is still called Outlook. It's just
Microsad is just still called Outlook, but it's got a sad face into O.
Yeah, exactly. It's just got a much more dour look or sad looking icon. You know? Oh shit. Okay, so what do we do for this one? Try to be honest anyway?
You want to roll with that?
Sure, why not?
Okay, number 2, try to be honest with her anyway.
You attempt to tell your mother how you're feeling despite initial misgivings that you have about doing so. Finding the right words for how you're feeling feels like trying to untangle Christmas lights, searching for the dead bulb in the cluttered mess. She watches you intently and audibly sighs before you can clearly articulate anything. Unfortunately, she reacts predictably. An attitude like that won't get you anywhere. You need to work harder at getting what you want instead of sitting around and feeling sad about it. Nothing good will happen unless you make it happen. She isn't angry or spiteful as she tells you this. You try to explain that it's not a matter of that, but you can tell that you're not really getting anywhere. The frustration chokes the words in your throat, and you give up on trying to push the subject further. You know she's giving you the advice that makes sense to her and genuinely wants the best for you. However, she doesn't understand that it's not as simple somehow deciding to be positive or work harder. It's that those things aren't viable options because of these feelings. You accept your defeat, and the conversation drifts to other subjects. She leaves after chiding? Hey,
Chiding?
yeah. I have not seen this word in my life. How have I not seen this word in my life?
Chiding?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. Alright, well, she leaves after chiding you to call her more often and take better care of yourself. You sigh heavily as you close the door behind her, spend the next few hours laying in bed, staring at the ceiling.
I feel like no matter what, this was never going to go well, but if there was a way to win the game better, I feel like your option was probably more on the money.
Well,
And Side note, I'm very glad my mom is not like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
Like
very glad I don't have that mom.
me neither. It's like my mom is usually pretty understanding about these sorts of things and
Yeah.
willing to engage.
Yeah, hell, even my dad gets that stuff pretty well, considering.
Your dad is an interesting cat, man.
Yeah, my dad is eclectic.
The morning becomes your dad.
Exactly.
Lazy Sunday.
Wake up in the late afternoon, depressed as hell. That's how I'm doing.
So I'm really not gonna do much.
Yeah.
You think of what I'm thinking? Sit on the couch and try not to cry.
You think of what I'm thinking? Sleep during the day and forget to eat?
Spin my wheels and exhaust myself trying to attempt at getting anything done today? Hell yeah.
You think of what I'm thinking? Shaming myself internally for doing nothing but tread water my entire adult life?
Man, it's happening.
Hey folks, we gotta take a quick sad break to dry our eyes, but join us in part 2 for more dank-ass depression quest.
And remember, you too can prevent depression fires.
You too can prevent sadness flares.
Ooh. That sounds like something you would use in a video game.
Yeah, sadness flares?
Yeah, I don't know.
That would be...
Actually,
imagine a
depression.
video game where you have control over other people's emotions and that's how you engage in combat.
That would be fascinating. That would be the more like, okay, we're getting carried away with the sci-fi elements of this. Like,
Yeah.
oh, now I can make you really self-conscious and use it as a weapon. That would be actually very interesting.
Yeah. I would play that game. I imagine it would be like a Mirror's Edge type thing where it's like we're specifically giving you a combat style that does not involve guns. We're going out of our way to give you that.
Hey, it could be very telling if handled properly.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go get programming.
Yeah. Go.
Billion dollar idea.
I'm going to
Big,
go.
big game.
Big game. Big concept.
big-
Comes soon to iOS.
On the undank engine. I don't know.
The undank engine.
The undank engine, Dank 3.